This jam is nice, but let me turn it down a little bit. I'm so glad we're finally going to meet my parents. Been wanting to show you off for some time. I told my mom a little bit about you before we started our journey down here. That's why I was on the phone for so long. She can just chatter, 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 chatter. Sometimes I put her on, put myself on mute and do other things, and she doesn't even realize I'm gone. Anyways, I told her a little bit about you, but I'm just so ready to show you off. You're the greatest thing that's happened in my life so far, and the fact that we're finally here at Christmas time and I'm able to show you off to my family, well, by God, that makes me happier than a beaver with a bunch of wood, or something like that. Listen, I know this 5-hour drive to the Christmas party has been quite a long road. I wish I didn't have to move so far away, but it was a double-edged sword. If I hadn't moved so far away, I would have never met you. But it is long, so I appreciate your patience with me. I've never taken anyone to the Christmas party before. In fact, I almost had an ex-girlfriend I took once, but that didn't turn out very well. In fact, my cousin, he found out that my ex had one of those pay-per-view services, if you know what I mean. Starts with an O, ends with an ands. Yeah, it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but when they found out about it, I said, hey, listen, it's what they do. We love it. That's how they support themselves. But, after feeling ostracized by them, they said, hey, you know what? I'm going to break up with you. I almost felt like it had nothing to do with the fact that they were cheating on me with somebody else. But you know how it goes. I'm glad I didn't waste too much time introducing them to my parents. Anyways, and the thing is, too, since I'm on this tangent, their services wasn't anything crazy. All it was them eating bananas and smashing it with their feet. I mean, how is that supposed to be something I'm not going to be proud of? But, oh well, it is what it is. But I'm glad I'm able to share these things with you. Glad I'm able to share everything with you, actually. And I'm glad that we're going to start sharing our lives together. You'll see from my parents how much they approve of you. I think you're perfect, and I know they will too. Hell, you are the cream of the crop. If I was to buy 100 cans of creamed corn, well, you'd be the creamiest. I gotta tell you that. They're gonna be so stoked to hear that I snagged a 2-time holding world record holder. I mean, most people don't even have one world record, let alone 2. They're gonna be fucking so stoked to hear that you have the world record for unicycling backwards while playing the violin. Oh, sorry. It's the viola. The viola. Yeah, how far did you go again? 6 kilometers backwards while playing arpeggios. I mean, that's amazing. That's insane. How on earth do you do something like that? I don't know. You're quite the enigma. Not only that, but you also have the #1 world record for the person who can sustain the most leeches on their entire body. When I came and picked you up from the hospital after you've got the world record for having 200 leeches on you, I mean, if that doesn't just scream sexiness and sanity, I don't know what does. Anyways, I know they're gonna ask, but do you think we should tell them the real story about how we met? I'd conjured up a version of where I met you at a grocery store and we both wanted to get a cucumber and your hand met my hand and we both kind of blushed and then we started talking after we had some McCafe coffee. Oh, you think it's best to be honest about how we met? Well, that's perfectly fine. Oh, you want to hear the story? You have always said you think it's really romantic. Well, alright. I'll go ahead. What else we gotta do? We got nothing else but time and money. Anyways, I remember that night like it was yesterday. We were going into Lucky's bar, and my buddy Fred had just passed his food handling test to be a fry cook over at Texas Roadhouse, and we needed to celebrate. I mean, he's 35, he's been living with his parents, and he's been desperately needing a job, so after much convincing, I was able to finally get him over there. So he passed that exam, which is something we never thought he'd be able to do. And now he's a wrangling, honking, honky tonk, Arthur, Red Dead Redemption, flippin' steak guy that I've ever met. Anyways, I get there and I see the most attractive person behind the bar. And of course it was you. But you didn't notice me, which is fine. I was still in my chicken mascot costume for Kane's chicken. They had me going out there doing their new $5 bundle special. But I didn't have time to change. When Fred told me he passed that, I said I knew that we needed to celebrate. I'll have you know, I was naked under that bad boy because it was July. So I was going to be going to that bar in that chicken costume whether I wanted to or not. Anyways, I got a Long Island iced tea when we all ordered drinks. It was really, really good, but I don't remember anything much for a while since I spent the whole night really admiring that cutie patootie behind the bar. Your work ethic and how you presented yourself was top notch. I could tell you were employee of the month, that's for fact. You were always so intelligent, knowing how much alcohol to put in there at all times in that rinky-dink bar. You could have done something better like an Applebee's or anything like that. Anyways, our eyes finally met when I yawned at the exact same time that you did. Right as you were hawking a loogie and you spit it, and just the trajectory of that spit, it went down my throat. Everyone gasped, and you could hear a pin drop in there while I was gasping for breath, and that's totally fine, because I was happy to have you be able to spit in my mouth. After you came over and apologized, I remembered what you said. You asked if I could go soon, and I said, yes, sadly I had to go. My DoorDash shift started soon, and you looked at me with those big puppy dog eyes, and I looked at you, and at the same time, we both said, well, if I don't see you, have a good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Who knew you were such a fan of The Truman Show? We stared there, flabbergasted. I didn't go to my DoorDash shift that night. I sat in the bar with you, and we talked about everything from music to movies to all the crazy stories we have in this small town. And well, we've been together ever since. Yeah, I think my family will find it romantic. I mean, compared to my mom and dad's origin story, that's better than nothing. Anyways, have I ever mentioned anything about my family to you? Nothing? Really? I guess I'm too wrapped up in being in love with you that I didn't even have time to mention any of them to you. Alright, so we've got a few key players in my family that's going to be there for sure. So, we have my mom. Fuck. So we have my mom, and she is a beast of a woman. Let me tell you, she's amazing, and she loves me and my siblings a whole bunch. But she's always trying to remember to have a solid work-life balance. So she works a lot, but when she's home, she tries to make the best of it. You see, she's a professional festival goer. What do I mean by that? Well, my mom does a professional food eating as a job. That's no joke. She could scarf down a whole fucking hot dog in 6 seconds. Buns, relish, and all. Her mouth unhinges like a snake going after a giant quail egg. And she always wins first place in it. She's been the hot dog eating champion at Clark County Fair for 24 years in a row. Wins $2,000 every time she does it. Now, the only time she's ever got close to losing is when Linda McCarthy decided to run up against her. And everyone knew about Linda McCarthy. She was a hell of a woman. She was someone who would eat an entire cake in 3 slices. What the hell? Anyways, at this county fair, I think it was like 2008, 2009, she had a solid lead on my mom. My mom was down a whole pack of ballpark franks. She was, really losing. We were all nervous. We were all biting our nails. But then, Linda started to choke. My mom didn't even get fazed by it. She thought it was some tactic to get my mom to stand up and then Linda would win the whole thing. But nope, Linda died of a heart attack right there in that stall. So, after the hospital came and got her and the family was notified, the competition decided to give my mom the point by default. If you can't continue by any means necessary, that's an automatic forfeit. So, she still kept her championship. Now, as a side gig, and that's where she really earns her money, she holds cupcake eating contests around town and wins a couple grand from here or there. Usually once a month, she eats about 200 cupcakes in a sitting, in about 10 minutes total. I mean, she is like a vacuum. She takes paper and all on those cupcakes. Now, what does my dad do? Well, he works a lot, I won't lie to you there. He spent most of his life at work, but he makes a good living. He works 2 jobs. By day, he's an elevator attendant, which means he stands in an elevator 10 hours a day, pushing the buttons for rich people to go up a few floors. The sad part is that the building he attends only has 2 floors, the main floor and upstairs. So they pay him $15 an hour to press 1 or 2. It's a real tough, hard on his old bones. Now, on his night job, to make some extra cash, he's a licensed snuggler. True, he has people pay him to snuggle them to sleep. Now you'll see my dad and understand why. He's about the size of the stick bug from A Bug's Life. So I mean, he's a good hugger despite that being of a skeleton. But he makes some decent cash from it. And my mom doesn't even feel nervous. She's too busy eating cupcakes after all. Now the real party goers that are going to be there are going to be my aunt and uncle. They're going to make it a little bit of an awkward holiday because they both just came back from jail. They're on parole. But don't worry, my parents say they're innocent. Allow me to explain. So back in 2004, my aunt had a bit of a nose candy problem. I mean, who doesn't? And my uncle, well, he had a bit of a gambling problem. You see, he loved to live dangerously. With his gambling addiction, he'd think he'd be addicted to things like Catch-21, blackjack, poker, rummy, goldfish, anything like that. Nope, he was addicted to playing Russian roulette. And so when you mix nose candy with guns, you get a bad pattern. So think of it this way. My uncle went to some dude's basement one night, and when he was there, they had a candy factory that my mom just loved. I mean, real supreme shit from Colombia. So she was down there enjoying the treats, and he was playing some games, but not Connect 4 and not Chinese checkers. Hell, like I said, not even rummy. He was playing Russian roulette. So, did he end up winning Russian roulette? Well, of course, he's alive, but the person who lost, ooh, they lost big time. Now, apparently everyone there was out to get my uncle, so they used it as a scam to blame him since he was covered in the guy's brains. It was nuts. But it's all right now. It's been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, something like that, and they're finally back, which is nice because my parents have been raising their 9 kids for them since they went to jail. Yeah, 9 kids. They've got Jason, Jackie, Jedediah, Jimbo, Jeremy, Jenny, Jaria, Draco with a J, and finally, Alex, the youngest one. So there's a whole lot of people to meet. I know you're just as excited as I am, but trust me, there's enough turkey and a holiday meal to go around. Ah, speak of the devil, all that talking and we just pulled up to the house. I'll be damned. Well, get ready. Remember, no matter what happens, I'll love you forever.